From Cornwall to Birmingham and Johnston and Bexhill, here's Ruben Spar on the radio.
Hello to Skye Amber Music. How are you today?
Hello, I'm very good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for letting me chat to you today. Can you tell me how long you've been a singer-songwriter for?
I think it depends what you mean by singer-songwriter, because I started out with lyrics and then playing guitar and then putting them together and singing. So I've been singing for a long time because I used to sort of sing when I was washing up just to like pass the time. Particularly like singing like West End musicals and like Grease and stuff. And then my mum found a poem which I had in some kind of poetry competition that I did well in when I was like 11. So I think that I had the workings of a singer-songwriter from about the age of 8, but then I had to develop the associated skills to go with it. So I started with the poetry, and then I actually bought a guitar when I was 16, and then I got some proper lessons instead of like how to play guitar from, easy guitar chords book or whatever, from about 24. That's probably going to give away a bit how old I am, but yeah, more than 10 years.
So, can you tell me more about the debut EP that released called Reach Out?
Yeah, Reach Out. Reach Out is an uplifting EP. So I've got the main track, which is called Reach Out, which is essentially saying, reach out, the sunshine is calling, reach out, rewrite your story. So they're the lyrics of the chorus. And it's an uplifting, happy song, which is saying that, yeah, your friends are there for you if you're in a difficult spot. Just let them know, and then you can go and have some support from them. So that's the kind of vibe. I've also got a song on there which is called Blessed, and again, that's basically about being grateful for all the little things. So Reach Out is kind of like pop rock, kind of happy, and then Blessed is a bit more sort of sentimental, bit more drop down. And then the other one that's on there is My Head's a Mess, which is one of the main songs that I wrote in my kind of early songwriting days. And it pretty much stuck because it seems to have like a really nice message and really nice vibe. So yeah, that one's on there. Yeah, and then there's two lots of Blessed. There's the acoustic version and there's the recorded version. Yeah, and I think that was in 2019 when I did the EP, and it's hard copy only, so it's very exclusive. Can't get it from anywhere apart from my website. And yeah, I spent a lot of time building that. So I had to basically do the entire thing from scratch. So I've got, had to design the cover, had to design, do all the songwriting. I actually go to songwriting retreats, and I spent an entire week solidly refining all the songs that went on my EP, like so that I was breathing in the right place and pronouncing things properly and getting the pitch perfect and everything. And then I felt like I was ready to do the EP and perform in the release gig with my then band. So yeah, it was good. I liked it. It's fun.
So you appeared on The Chase, didn't you? So what was that like to appear on The Chase?
I did appear on The Chase. It was a bit like this because there was a bit more light. It was very entertaining because I had no idea that I was going to be on TV. I just filled in the application because my boyfriend was filling it in, and he was like, "I'm going to go on The Chase," and I was like, "No, I'm going to go on The Chase." And then he didn't get in, and I did, and I was like, "Well, this was a bit of a surprise." But I had to do a video interview like this and answer like a load of quick fire questions. And on the day, I got a taxi because they had to get me a taxi. I was like, oh, I feel very special now. From my house to the studio in somewhere in like North London. So I was up at like 4:30 in the morning getting on this taxi, and then I got there, and then they won't let you in. You're not allowed to know who your chaser is, so they were very careful. You're not allowed to like wander randomly around the building. You've only got to go this way or that way when indicated, so that when you get to the studio and you see the chaser, it's genuinely a surprise. So you really haven't got any clue who you're up against. You've genuinely never met the people in your team apart from at 6 o'clock in the morning beforehand. Yeah, and then it was a bit of a blur, because obviously they just ask you so many questions, and then you're just like, answer it. So you're just like in the zone doing the thing. And then you start panicking about small things like, how hard do I have to press the button to select my answer? And then the chaser that I had was the Dark Destroyer, and he's absolutely enormous. Like he's about 6'6", and he doesn't look it on the TV, but when I saw him, I was like, oh wow, this is real. Yeah, but it was really nice. The people there, the staff and that are very, very friendly. The hair and makeup people are all super nice, and the team was really good as well. And we've kept in touch. So me and the winning team have our little WhatsApp group, and we're probably going to go and try some more quiz shows because it obviously worked the first time.
That's right. Might as well continue it. So, can you tell me more about your debut single that you released called "Lonely Flight"?
Yeah, "Lonely Fight" is a good single. Like I was saying about a songwriting retreat. So this is one of the ones that basically the songwriting, let's say, teacher said, off you go. You've got an hour to write some lyrics. And I was like, have I? Oh, I better go on with it then. Okay, so then they basically wrote these lyrics about basically being in your head and then trying to deal with the whole world from the perspective of just being in your head. So it's quite interesting because the music is quite like The Cure. It's quite like pop rock. It's quite sort of upbeat and everything. But the message is actually saying everything's a bit crazy and I'm a bit confused. So it's kind of an interesting contrast between the music and the message. But then the people who heard it really, really enjoyed the music, and then they started to interpret the actual message in a different way, and they were like, oh yeah, it's like you're in the ring, and it's like, I'm gonna fight and I'm gonna win. And I'm like, yeah, you could kind of like get pumped up to that type of thing with this type of music. And then I also made my own music video for the first time ever for that single. So I was very, very excited because I'd never done that before. And yeah, I started to learn some new skills, started to sort of be in my own videos. So people liked it. Basically, I wasn't too sure which one to put as a first single, so I did a little experiment and sent people about 5 of the songs from the album, like, which one do you like best? And this one came out top, so I was like, okay, we'll go with that one then. So it seemed logical. Also, the audience participation, sorry, because when I was doing my album launch, you can go, it's a lonely fight, yeah. And then you can interact with the audience, and I do like to do that. I keep everyone on their toes in my audience.
So tell me more about Be Brave.
Yeah, so Be Brave is like a very sentimental song. Be Brave is not in that same vibe as Lonely Fight, because it's kind of dreamy, pretty, melodic. It's a bit like Ellie Goulding kind of meets the Cranberries. So with Ellie Goulding, I'm thinking about where like the vocal is quite Ellie Goulding, and the Cranberries is kind of like more kind of linger and that kind of gentle sort of sound, obviously without the Irish accent. And then it's quite stripped down to a certain extent because it's very acoustic guitar based, and then it just goes into different kind of directions. But it's basically a guitar song. Doesn't need to be a huge band. And yeah, so the point of Be Brave is to say it's a message from one generation to another. So it could be like a mother to a child, or a father to a child, saying, I've got you, you know? So you must be brave, I'll keep you safe. So it's about that very close relationship and that bond between different generations of a family, and you being there for each other. Well, they are, the elder generation kind of being there for the younger generation, but the younger generation knowing that they will be brave, and then they can pass that message on to the next generation. So I really like that. I'm also dedicating that one to my father, because he was very into that type of message, and it's a family song. Pretty family song with a catchy chorus.
Well, what about Thunder?
So Thunder's quite a different vein again. I think I was going to show you this. Yeah. So my little emblem, my logo, is pretty with a punch, and I think that Thunder very much represents that, because it's quite unexpected. So the chorus goes, it's thunder. No, she's thunder. She's thunder. She's thunder laced with gin. And I would find that to be quite an unusual chorus. I've not heard something like that before. And so that in itself is kind of like, oh, why is she thunder laced with gin? And then the whole story is very narrative based. So it's kind of very, it's like Moulin Rouge meets tango, with a Skye Amber twist. And it's very powerful, very kind of in your face. And it's about a femme fatale who essentially goes on the prowl and decides like which male is going to be her kind of victim, a little bit, let's say victim. So it's a bit like James Bond, you know, in that very classy, little bit exotic, but there's like badass woman in there. And there's a story about her. So yeah, it's the other songs came more from my own experience, but this one did not come from my own experience. This came from my own, like, let's say, zany imagination, imagining this woman. And it's so interesting because when I've had interviews or feedback, they've said, oh, but this woman, I know her, she's my sister-in-law. Oh, that just sounds like my ex-wife. So I think the character must be quite common in the world. Do you know anyone like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe they're mainly in America and Southwest London.
So can you tell me more about your latest single called Piece of Me?
Yeah, so Piece of Me. Okay, so having released 3 singles, I really wanted Piece of Me to be special, obviously. So, because Piece of Me is the single that comes from the album. And out of the 11 songs, like I said, 4 of them got shortlisted for singles. And then one of them is going to be, oh, this is the single that comes with the album. So it's kind of leading the way for the album. So I basically played them all to myself. And I thought, which is the most entertaining to play live. Because I do like really enjoy performing. So I need to have a song which I love playing. And I do love playing Thunder, but then I realized that Piece of Me would be better for the album, because it's just happier. It's more kind of catchy, hooky, and more kind of pop rock, fun, kind of carefree type of song. So yeah, Piece of Me. It's like, if you want a piece of me, come and get a piece of me. If you want a piece of me, come and get a piece of me. It's like that. Dun, 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 dun. It's like, oh, that's kind of entertaining. So people from different types of backgrounds seem to quite engage with that melody. And I found that when I was doing my like, which one shall I choose game, that one stood out as being like really fun to play. So that's why it became the lead song for the album. And yeah, the message is basically, if you want a piece of me, come and get a piece of me, because I'm so strong that you can't actually break me. So it's a kind of progression from something that was difficult to something that is solid and strong and courageous. And that's why the person's celebrating with that hooky chorus. So yeah, I love to write those kind of empowering, happy, oh, it's all good now type of songs, positive songs, uplifting songs. And I think that's a really nice one to be the lead single for the album.
So can you tell me more about your album, your debut album called Skye Amber?
It's called Skye Amber. So there we go. Can you see Skye Amber? Well, let's have a look inside. So we've got 11 songs. Not the best image in the world, is it? Oh, here. Yeah, so I've got 11 songs, and they're quite mixed up, okay? Because I organized it like as if you were organizing a set list. So kind of start with something kind of captivating and a bit more kind of thought-provoking, and then kind of like raise the volume, and then bring it down again, and then bring it up again. So I just want people to listen to the album and not be bored, and then just think, oh, I want to play it again. So they're all quite different, these songs. So yeah, like I said, Be Brave is that kind of more melodic one. Christina, I've been told, sounds like it could be the introduction to an American sitcom. So it's kind of fun. Killing Me to Wait is the third one. Is very rocky, and it's kind of got some bits in it which are like, hey, da-da-da-da, hey, da-da-da-da. So that's, yeah, that one's like really happy and fun. Then we've got A Leaf in the Wind, which is like English folky. So it's actually a tribute to Emily Bronte, and it's a tribute to unsung heroes. So basically she wrote the very famous Wuthering Heights, and not the Kate Bush version of the book. But she died before she knew that she had basically become a highly successful author. So this is an ode to her, to say, you know, well done. You're an unsung hero, and there are many unsung heroes like that. And then I've got Lifelong, which is lifelong, lifelong. Bum bum ba da ba da, bum bum ba da ba ba, bum bum ba da ba bum bum ba. That's a song that I wrote for my sister's wedding, and it's actually about my sister and her husband, and the journey that they're going to take through their life. That's kind of happy, and it's got a bit where you kind of like raise the glass to the bride and groom, and kind of a very happy celebratory kind of wedding type song. We mentioned about Lonely Fight already. Melt Away is as a ballad, so that's quite different. I kind of stopped writing ballads when I discovered that I much prefer to write happy songs, which are kind of uplifting poppy type music. So this is probably like one of my last and only ballads, but it's quite pretty. It's about unrequited love. And then Morning Eyes is, again, it's that kind of quirky retro pop. So it's kind of a little bit Taylor Swift with a hint of Britney, but definitely grounded in acoustic singer-songwriter. So it's basically about waking up in the morning and seeing someone's eyes and going, nope, they're lying to me. They've been doing something last night that they did not just tell me about. They've been doing something else. And it's got kind of like, oops, in it quite a lot. And it's a bit psychedelic and a bit 60s as it goes through, which is pretty cool. Then we talked about Peace to Me, we talked about Thunder. And then the last one on the album is Velvet Nights, which is very poignant for me because Velvet Nights, I actually won the UK songwriting competition for that song while I was a finalist. So yeah, I was happy to put that one on there. Again, it's very kind of atmospheric. It's about remembering a past love and then kind of opening a box to remember the past. So it's quite nostalgic driven. It's quite sort of 1940s, 1950s kind of vibe. Yeah. And I think that one's very pretty. So hopefully people go, oh, that was pretty. Hey, where's the happy ones again? Put it back on again. So that's what I do when I listen to it anyway. And that's hopefully what you'll do when you get yours.
So, can you tell me about how has that been independent artist for you?
Oh, sorry, I can't quite hear that well.
You're an independent artist, aren't you?
Yes, that's right.
So, can you tell me how is it for you being an independent artist?
Very busy. Very busy. Yeah. So you can see why these kind of diva people have like a troupe of like 10 people to help them with everything. So what does it mean? Independent artist means obviously I write my own songs, but then I also critique my own songs and kind of take it upon myself to make them as good as possible. And then I have to find myself the best place to record the vocals, the best producers to work with. So there's no one like helping. So you just have to kind of make connections by yourself, and they don't really come from nowhere. So it's quite a lot of work to get to the right people to produce the right type of sound for you. And then obviously recording, I record all of the vocals myself as like a trial version. No, what do you call it? Like a demo version. I just record them at my on my own computer at home, and then I take them to the studio and direct them how I want it to be, and then I record my own backing vocals, go back and forth with the producer to add the sounds in and everything. Yeah, I got my CD mastered by Pete Maha, who also works with people like U2. So I was pretty happy about that. So you get to kind of work with some cool people because you're the one doing it. Yeah, and then you get to fiddle around with a load of kind of funky arty stuff. So I had the logo of this, and I had the kind of design of this, and then I just put all the rest together myself. And then I make my own music videos. I do my social media. I talk to my fans. So if people message me or they leave me a comment, then I literally reply to them and have a chat. So I know quite a lot about people who like my music, and I know what they're doing. Yeah. Oh, and then I have to sometimes do kind of, what do you call it, admin. So like to get yourself on a Spotify playlist, you better tell the Spotify playlist that you exist. So every time I do a single, I have to sort of send 500 emails saying, hello, my album, my single is now out on Spotify. Would you like to put it on your playlist? And yeah, so there's some of it's kind of like quite boring, but there's some of it's quite exciting. And yeah, like I said, I'm confident about the actual music stuff. So if you actually consider the entire thing, probably the work that goes in, probably about 30% is actually music, and the rest of it is organizing stuff. So it's a bit hard to be an independent artist, but that's how it is.
Thank you for chatting to me today.
Yes, it's been a pleasure.
I wish you all to success.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.